Okay, so I explained a little bit of how open forum is going to go, but basically the serious questions you'll have 40 seconds to answer, and then less like more off-topic questions you'll have 20 seconds, and I will prompt you. You have a timer on your screen, so you can like pin my video if that makes it easier to see, and I will be muting your audio when your time is up. So the first question goes to the Office of President, and we'll start with Tala. What have you done to show commitment to the JCL? And if there were conflicts, how would you able to manage your time?
Yeah, I've been the GJCL parliamentarian from 2019 to 2020, where I attracted nearly 30 pre-filed candidates, which is the largest number in Georgia's history. Along with that, I created our first ever virtual election procedure and constitution guide. I think the largest conflict that I had during my time as office is when everything just got shut down and we went into quarantine. So transforming our elections and keeping it as traditional as possible was probably the biggest challenge I had, but I think I overcame that really well and stuck to a very traditional election process that year.
And then Anna.
Hi, this is going to be my 6th year in the GJCL. I served as your 2018 to 2019 hostess. I had a lot of applicants that year, so that was really exciting. Additionally, I served as your 2nd VP this year. Some things I'm proud of throughout my term: we got 3rd place overall and the first ever NJCL virtual spirit contest. It was really hard to do virtual spirit and service, as that's something that's usually very attractive in person. And then like conflicts extracurricular wise, I don't really have many. The GJCL has always been my first priority.
Okay, thank you. And then for the Office of First Vice President, how do you plan to improve Praetoria's attendance and promotion?
One idea I had for Praetoria is that we can live stream certain things depending on like the leadership workshops that we have, because I'm presuming that Praetoria will be in person. If online, we can follow the same format as this year and we can have it be free of charge. If in person, we can live stream certain things that will help other people join in on the Praetoria activities without actually having to go to Rock Eagle.
This is for the Office of Second Vice President, and we'll start with Isabel. How have you participated in JCL service at local, state, and or national level?
Okay, so on the local level, I've been planning service events for my chapter, Walton. So one of the service events I'm most proud of is our card writing event, which we wrote to healthcare workers at Wellstar Cobb Hospital. And that was really fun and successful. On the state level, I've always participated in the statewide service projects. And I really like this year's service project, and I've already planned out where we're going to give the dog chew toys to. And on the national level, I've been able to see what service projects work well and what doesn't while at national convention. And I think that like gave me a lot of experience and helped me figure out how to plan service projects.
And Kate?
At the local level, it's obviously been a challenge this year, but my club has been kind of discussing and planning all year a letter writing campaign in order to kind of reach out to our school district, because in Cobb County, they are getting rid of all middle school Latin programs, and we're definitely not for that. So in terms of service, we've definitely been trying to kind of protest and get that going. On the state level, I've always encouraged, as vice president and president of my chapter, I've always encouraged my members to do as much as participation in the state service project as possible. And every year at state convention, we always try and get at least 80% of our chapter to participate.
Thank you. And then for the Office of Parliamentarian, we'll start with Savannah. As a parliamentarian, your job includes promoting the election process and making sure that it is transparent. How are you going to achieve this?
Yeah, hi. So I would definitely like to continue with the candidates guide that you guys had this year. And I would like to reach out to officers from chapters across the state either through a video call or email, whatever it takes, and to keep them informed as to what's going on and to answer any questions they may have, and even if needed, to spark an interest in running if they would like to share the information with their other members of their chapter.
And Andrew?
Okay, so for me, I was planning on holding few election preparation meetings for candidates who would be interested in running for office. In those meetings, I'll be going over the general election information, how to build up a platform, and the roles of each candidate. So the future candidates would have an idea of what each officer positions will be doing and how they should be preparing in the timeline of the election. Also, I'm planning on making an interactive election guide that will provide all of this information for the GJCL future candidates.
And for the office of secretary, how will you increase the number of subscriptions to newsletters?
So a lot of my platform has to do with that. So first part of my platform is accessibility, where I would change the docs to PDF form so that you can just directly view it on the site without having to download it. Might be minor, but then all of these small changes is what adds on to this predispositioned like role of the secretary. And I plan to contact every MAC and the leadership board individually, advertise it not only through the email, but also Remind, Instagram, Discord. And I plan to have more alternative news, such as the senior shoutouts, so that the members have a more personal interaction with the newsletters.
Thank you. And then this question is for all candidates and we'll go in gavel order. What ideas will you change or keep from this year's officers? And we'll start with Tala.
I think something that I would want to keep is the GJCL World Tour that Sanjay helped get started, and the Foundation for Classics Day. But something I would like to change is being more well connected throughout the year by adding my monthly challenges, which are going to include anything from a bake-off to a general trivia Kurtamen, or even a meme contest. So these monthly challenges can keep the GJCL connected throughout the year. So I think more communication, more transparency with my presidential newsletter that's going to go out is going to make the GJCL more well-rounded throughout the year and not just at state and fall forum.
Anna?
So this year was very challenging with the pandemic and trying to get information and communicate things with the state. So I definitely want to work closely with all the officers to make sure that we are making communication our first priority. So I'll be working very closely with the webmaster. I want to insert some fun sections in the Ally where officers can do like little updates about what they've been working on, similar to the NJCL Torch and their voices section. So basically, I just really want to promote communication. And then if we're still doing virtual things, maybe doing more virtual, interactive, personable, fun, like Q&As and stuff.
And Grace?
Something I definitely want to keep from Kaya's term is the membership advisory committee. I think this is really productive and it definitely helped me a lot as a JCLer. Something I would like to change about MAC though is just have more structured meetings in general and check in with members. As part of my platform, I plan for MAC members to contact other chapters, especially in their districts. So I would like to keep updates with MAC members and have more structured meetings overall.
Isabel?
Okay, one thing, some things that I would keep would be I would keep giving feedback on the Club of the Month along with the rubric and send out like where they got points from everything. And I would keep sending remind messages about the Club of the Month, but I'd also send a link along with it. And I would also like to keep working with Mac as well. As far as things I would change, like this is most of my platform, but I would create a spreadsheet with potential service events and organizations that GJCLers could work with so that it would be easier to plan a service project locally and so that it would be easier to just get started.
Thank you. And then Kate.
Yeah, so one of the things that have really impressed me about Anna's term is really just her consistency. I think the social media challenges this week were awesome. I love all of the consistency, kind of keeping our morale up with Club of the Month, being really on it on that. One of the things I would like to implement, though, is the introduction of the GJCL web store. This is probably the biggest part of my platform, and basically, I plan to utilize customink.com in their e-commerce kind of fundraising program in order to design and sell several different GJCL merch items that are shippable and payable through all across the state that would just kind of promote spirit and unify us in a time that we're all spread so far apart.
Thank you. Savannah.
Yeah, thank you. I would definitely like to continue, well, whether it's in person or virtual next year, I would definitely like to continue with the campaign guide that you guys have created and voting through Google Forms to make it very easy to collect, tally, and record the votes from the chapters. Also like to continue networking, outreach, connect to all the local chapters, to the officers themselves, to make sure that we're gaining candidates, that people are applying, you know, they know what's going on.
Thank you. And then Andrew.
One of the things that I really liked about what Rebecca did this year was her chance for her meeting for the future candidates to meet the officers once and have a talk with them and ask them questions during the fall forum. I would like to continue that, except that I would like to hold a lot more meetings so the members really have a chance to ask a lot of questions to the officers, and they will have time to plan out their elections and really get a clear understanding of the election process.
Thank you. And then Kelly.
Much of the secretary's role is to carry on the executions of the past secretary members, such as like Akshara's calendar section and repetition of news in her newsletters. So like the things that I appreciated about her formatting of minutes and the newsletters are that she doesn't hesitate to like repeat the news if it needs to be repeated. Like there's nothing new being addressed if nothing needs to be addressed. So I would like to continue that, and I want to contact Akshara personally to learn about how she formats these newsletters and forms the mailing list.
Thank you. And then this question is for Anna. What is your plan for fall forum since your school is located relatively far away from most GJCL chapters?
Hi, so this is something that I've really put a lot of time and thought consideration into because I know it is a really big issue. I would like to emphasize, like, we really don't know if Fall Forum is going to be in person or virtual. However, if it is, my sponsor has agreed to host it, but I know that's gonna very much impact participation attendance. So when I was running, I confidentially reached out to Dr. Claymore of Mountain View High School, who has agreed to host Fall Forum, and we can work together as a team, and I can come up to Atlanta as much as I need to make sure that it's going to run as smoothly as possible. And it's something I'm very excited.
Thank you. And then for the Office of First Vice President, what specific actions will you take that will help existing delegations?
I will definitely encourage people to apply for MAC. I think one thing that keeps JCLers in local chapters relatively inactive in the JCL is because there's an air of exclusivity. I think something that I want to do is help local chapters by just promoting MAC so that people will have a better understanding of how the JCL works through participation in this committee. Something else I want to do is just create a rubric for publicity and just expand the publicity guide in general.
Thank you. And then for the Office of Second Vice President, we'll start with Kate this time. What do you think the current second VP could have done better, and how do you intend to make the improvements?
The only really administrative improvement that I plan to make about what Anna did this year is I kind of want to opt to publish the spirit tally pre-convention. I think this year Anna did a great job of kind of implementing a lot of pre-convention virtual spirit opportunities for chapters to participate in. But I think that participation and an encouragement to compete would be up if chapters could view the standings of the competition beforehand. So just kind of being able to see where Club of the Month stands, where all the pre-convention social media challenges and everything stand, I think that would greatly benefit participation in spirit this year.
Thank you. And then Isabel.
Okay, given the circumstances of online and everything and things going virtually, I think Anna did really well, especially in the beginning. Club of the Month was going on pretty strong considering most people were online. But some things that I would want to change is that I would want to announce Club of the Month on a specific day every month. That doesn't necessarily mean posting it on Instagram on a specific day, because I realize that could be hard, but like at least giving them feedback on like the 25th of every month so that people know when they're getting results back. And I'd also want to host a colloquia session about Club of the Month at Fall Forum just to encourage more submissions as well.
For the Office of Parliamentarian, we'll start with Andrew this time. Are there any ideas or parts of the bylaws or articles of incorporation that you would like to fix as an amendment or a proposed amendment for the next year?
So when I was reading through the bylaws this year, I realized how general the roles of each officers on the bylaws is. One of the things that I would want to do is create subsections into each sections of the officer roles that we have, explaining thoroughly what the officers would do in those positions. And also I saw that the criteria information on the bylaw was outdated. As it said, we can only send one delegate. I remember in 2019, we sent two. So I will work on updating those parts as well.
Thank you. And then Savannah.
Hi, yeah. So I can agree with Andrew on most of that. It's very generalized, especially for the descriptions of the officer positions. I agree with amendments that we've proposed for this year. I do hope that they get passed, and quite frankly, anything else that needs to be done, I'd hope to discover while in office, which I know is not a great answer, but I think you need to experience it really to know what really needs to be changed,
Okay, thank you. And for the Office of Secretary, one of the biggest duties of the Secretary is to take minutes during meetings. How fast can you take notes and how well are you at organizing?
I can commend this to a lot of my qualifications and leadership positions from the past. I have been the secretary of the Northview JCL in the past, and I have taken extensive measures to incorporate them and then like make the members more aware that of the minute meetings that I am taking. And a lot of the other leadership positions that I'm a part of, for example, I will be like the president of Beta Club next year, and it has over 500 members, and I have been actively in charge of that and been balancing all of my extracurriculars. So I am qualified to do this.
The next question is for all candidates, and we'll go in reverse gavel order. How have you proven, your ability to cooperate and communicate well within a board, even if other officers may disagree with you or be difficult to work with? Starting with Kelly.
So this again kind of incorporates into my past qualifications. I have witnessed this problem in my 3 consecutive turns as the class council president. So we are in charge of the homecoming decorations, and when it comes to decorations, there's people who are good at drawing and people who are not so good at drawing. So I would allocate their responsibilities and their qualifications and their skills to something else, such as recruiting members outside of class council to come and help. And I believe that I can allocate and cooperate within the leadership.
And Next, Savannah.
Hi. So I have served on boards before and in officer positions at previous clubs that I've been in. The most, I guess the best example of that would be through marching band. I'm a section leader in a marching band at Cal. And through that, I have to manage both my section and we also have to work together on like the entire leadership team. We have meetings and such in which we decide what to do. Really, you just have to keep in mind, I've learned from experience, you just have to keep in mind that you have to know how to compromise, can't take anything personally, and you can't get worked up about anything, and it usually works okay.
Thank you. And next, Andrew.
Similar to Savannah, one of the things that would represent this very well for me is my leadership role in marching band. I am the drum major of our high school's marching band. In addition to working with our 3 drum majors, I had to work with all the section leaders as well as our 120 members in our marching band. There's always conflicts in the marching band. We had a section that continuously disobeyed their section leader. So as a way to solve that, I personally went in and helped the section get in order and help the section leader out. And also we put one more person in charge to get the section in order. So I think I can work with a lot of people.
Thank you. And next we have Isabel.
Okay, I've had a good bit of experience on different boards, both as a general member and co-president of a community service club at my school. But I mainly try to prevent conflicts from happening. But when they occur, I just try to be understanding and contact them. But as far as preventing conflicts, I just try to send out reminders ahead of time so that if something needs to get done, people don't forget about it. And so that it won't just come down to the day before something needs to get done and someone hasn't done it. Just to like check in, and if any conflicts occur and something needs to get done, I'll always make sure it gets done, even if they don't necessarily do it.
Thank you. And then Kate.
Yeah, so we've actually run into this issue in my local chapter. We have a board that's equivalent in size to the GJCL board, except for we have 2 co-presidents. And although I am one of those co-presidents, I never get to fully call all the shots. We've learned to compromise and we've learned to really work together and collaborate. Beyond that, though, I'm also involved in the visual arts program at my school. So I'm in art club and National Honor Society for art, and I've really become accustomed to being able to positively critique others and being able to take positive criticism from others. So
Thank you. For Grace.
As for conflicts in the clubs that I've been in, for Walden JCL, our club normally works pretty functionally, but there have been certain disagreements. One of the main things that I'm accustomed to do is reach out to the person privately and work it out through them and make sure that we end up in a compromise. Another one was academic pool, where we ended up without a sponsor basically this year, and it ended up in like a power struggle between the underclassmen and the seniors. But I made sure to appeal to both sides and just reduce the conflict essentially and make sure people didn't fight within.
Thank you. And then Tala.
Been on the GJCL board before, and that's really taught me what it's like to work with a group of people. Outside of that, I'm the STEMA advisory board president and the drum major for our marching band. So that's really taught me what it's like to be a part of a leadership team and what it's like to be a part of a board. And with any conflicts that arise, I think the best way to go about that is communication. If you talk it out, I think that's the best way, instead of creating more conflict than needs to be. If you communicate with the person, try to resolve it and come to a bit of a compromise, that's going to be your best bet.
Thank you. And then Anna.
Yeah, so I've worked on a lot of leadership teams through dance and through the JCL. So I think sometimes when if someone's not carrying their weight, or if there is a conflict or something, I think the best thing you can do to minimize having like a big explosion and a big fight, you need to reach out to whoever isn't carrying their weight, or whoever's sort of initiating this privately, try to figure out, is there anything like going on that you can help with, and just try to help everyone through it, and do prioritize communication, but also do it to where it's not going to be a whole big drama mess. So just communication and checking in with everyone to make sure they're okay.
Thank you. And then this next question is for Tala. What are your plans for Fall Forum this year?
Yeah, I've had experience with helping plan Fall Forum, whether it be as a GJCL officer or as a Wheeler JCL officer, and Wheeler High School has experience with hosting Fall Forum before, so we're prepared to do that. Whether there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to Fall Forum, but I think if we do go virtual, I want to open up Fall Forum to everyone from across the state. This is going to increase fellowship within Georgia and the rest of the NJCL, adding some seminars from professors and more events is going to be very beneficial.
Thank you. This question is for the Office of First Vice President. How would you help schools that don't offer Latin or classics create a chapter and foster its growth and involvement in the GJCL?
As for schools who currently don't offer Latin, I think one thing that would help create the chapters is encourage them to look into the online exams that the NJCL offers. These exams, they don't necessarily require a whole class for Latin. And I think by emailing, contacting these chapters about these exams, whether it be the NCEE or the NLE or even the Greek exams or the Medusa myth, I think this would help create interest in creating a JCL chapter for these.
Thank you. This next question is for the Office of Second Vice President, and we'll start with Isabel. What are your plans for National Convention this year?
Okay, so obviously National Convention is going to be virtual, but some things I would like to do as far as spirit would be work with MAC, because I think it's really good to get input from people from different chapters, because there's a lot of smaller chapters within MAC. And I think we could work together to come up with potential roll call songs. And I would really like to involve GJCLers more in the process of spirit. So one way I'd like to do this is like coming up with different roll call songs and letting them vote on it. And so, yeah, that's some of my plans as far as spirit, and just really encouraging people to participate in the service projects at National Convention too.
Thank you. And Kate?
Yeah, so there's actually a document in the link on my campaign Instagram bio that's full of my National Convention spirit ideas so far. These are all based on the NatCon spirit themes for the days that they've already released. I plan to make an at-home kind of NatCon spirit guide that'll include coloring book style templates that GJCLers can print out and customize for DIY prop day. This will include, the Georgia silhouette, peaches, and even pig noses for the farm theme. I also plan to implement a shopping list of spirit items that I would encourage GJCLers to buy, such as grape jelly and toast for the Grapes and Grains Day, a toga, obviously, and I would make a document of all of our classic GJCL cheers for ease of access.
Thank you. This question is for the Office of Parliamentarian, and we'll start with Savannah. What is the most important part of your platform that you would really push to implement if elected to office?
I'd really like to work on networking, both connecting to officers and chapters of our GJCL chapters here, but really more so to officers from other state boards, as I really do think that collaborating with other states and seeing what they do, seeing what's in their bylaws, events that they hold, I think that could really help us to improve and adapt. Things that we could take away from them, things that we could adopt as our own. It's a lot easier than trying to come up with the ideas ourselves, I think working with them would really help everyone involved.
Thank you. And then Andrew?
I will mostly push the election preparation meetings that I was planning on holding around 4 times a year. The reason why I want to hold these meetings are because I remember how stressful preparing for elections can be, and how people may be clueless, and how this may keep many delegates from running for office. I hope from these meetings, I hope to help the future candidates really get an understanding of what each position does, really have a chance to talk with the officers and get prepared for elections. So more and more people can try out for the candidacy next year.
Thank you. This question is for the Office of Secretary. How will you improve or expand on what your predecessor has accomplished?
So one of the main things that I have addressed in the platform in my Instagram and website is more alternative news, and this is like the main thing that I wanted to change. So more alternative news means adding more fun news, such as the Humans of JCL and senior shoutouts. So like where the seniors would be committing to on like commitment day, and this forces them to directly interact and input news into the newsletters, and this would also contribute to more sources of news and pictures for the historian and other positions to use. So that's my main change in platform.
Thank you. This question is for all candidates and we'll go in gavel order. What was something you accomplished this year in your local chapter that you were most proud of? And we'll start with Tala.
I think the thing I'm probably most proud of accomplishing in my local chapter is keeping up with communication throughout and help planning our Christmas movie night, where we went out to a park and set up a projector and had some s'mores and we're socially distanced. That was a great event to kind of get together after we've all just kind of been at home, along with planning our toga tie-dye, and just these little events that have really connected our chapter and kept the Wheeler JCL spirit up.
Thank you. Next, Anna.
Hi. So my chapter, we have had a little bit of a rough year with some conflicts and we did lose a member of our chapter, so that we've been working really together. We've been very supportive of each other, which has just like it's been like nice just to support everyone. Oh, that's my electricity, sorry. In the first semester, we did do a lot of reaching out to our sixth graders and our middle schoolers and trying to get them like active in our JCL and excited about JCL. We had a little birthday party for Caesar, which was really cute. So we've just done middle school outreach mostly.
Thank you. And next, Grace.
So within our chapter, I think something that I'm proud of is co-running the Discord with our one of our presidents, Arik. The Discord has helped us a lot in keeping the middle schoolers engaged, at least the ones that are very interested in Kurtaman and academics. So I'm proud that we have continued to keep the middle schoolers at least engaged, even though we're virtual. In addition, I've won several publicity contests for NJCL, including for the months of September to October, January, and December.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you. And next, Isabel.
Okay, I've already kind of briefly mentioned this, but the thing that I've been most proud of this year was being able to have a successful service event. So Walton JCL teamed up with another club at Walton, and we managed to write over 200 letters, it's cards, over 200 cards to healthcare workers at Wellstar Cobb Hospital. And I really enjoyed this just because it required a lot of planning and emailing, and it just made me a lot more confident about my abilities to host a statewide service project. I also am very proud of our Club of the Month submissions as well.
Thank you. Next, we have Kate.
Yeah, so as co-president in my chapter this year, one of the things that I've really focused on is transparency and communication. Obviously, it's really difficult to get rising freshmen involved and the current freshmen involved for that matter because of the virtual state that we are in. We've been slowly making the transition from all virtual to hybrid meetings, including, like Taha said, the in-person Christmas party, which we did a full success. I was super proud of the membership that we've been able to gain this year. And we honestly have just kind of upped our participation in general compared to last year. Our numbers are up, our participation in Club of the Month and Vote of the Month is up, and I think we're just kind of improving in general as a club this year.
Thank you. Next, we have Savannah.
Thank you. At Cal, I was elected as co-consul this year, and our chapter's like pretty small, and we haven't really been involved much in the GJCL before this. And I took it, and I wanted to revamp everything. I created a new website for our chapter. I created a new email for our chapter, a Twitter account. We've also worked with our sponsor to make sure that we've been having club meetings every week for the entire school year, most of which have been in person, which I think is more fun. It's good. Yeah.
Thank you. And next, Andrew.
The thing that I'm most proud of for accomplishing this year is the Lupercalia meeting that I helped plan and lead. This meeting was the first meeting that the Northview JCL held with other JCLs around us, with Milton High School and Chattahoochee High School JCL. This meeting really helped us create a bond between the 3 nearby JCLs, and this meeting was the meeting that had the most participation out of any of the meetings that we had this year. So helping leading this and making this possible for the chapters was very meaningful, and this is my most proud accomplishment this year.
Thank you. Next, Kelly.
So I also go to the same school as Andrew. So I would also say the most proud accomplishment I had was the Lupercalia meeting. So Andrew is in the MAC. So while he's helping out with external bonds, I try to help with the internal bonds in Northview, and also the River Trail, the middle school students at River Trail. I also helped them in trying to pilot a Latin program at middle school, because they don't offer a Latin program there. So I would tutor them every 2 weeks and try to get them interested in Latin early.
Thank you. This next question is for all candidates that have an opponent, and we'll go in reverse gavel order. What do you admire most about your opponent's platform? And this will go to Andrew.
The thing that I really admire from Savannah's platform was how clear and straightforward it was. It was really easy to follow. It was really easy to know what she wanted from the what she wanted to do in the GJCL, what she really wanted to accomplish, especially the networking part with the national GJCL and the national, the statewide JCLs around us in this nation. I really was very surprised by that, and I think that part was really well thought of.
Thank you. And then Savannah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I also really appreciate, and I'm very glad that your platform had a lot to do with outreach, similar to mine, but on a more local level with reaching out to all the candidates and stuff. I do appreciate and really admire that you were willing to have so many meetings to make sure that everyone was informed, to make sure they all knew what they were doing, they had the resources available to be able to run, to make everything easier and smoother. So, like that.
Thank you. Next, Kate.
Yeah, so when looking at Isabel's platform, I think you can tell right off the bat that it's really detailed. She has definitely done her research, and you can tell that none of her ideas are too far-fetched, too out of the water. She really is just making the central goal of taking what we already have and refining it so that it can be its absolute best. Like the rubric changes, those are very specific, very down to the point. She's very clear and concise in all of her moves that she plans to make. And I think overall, she just has a really successful looking platform.
Thank you. Isabel.
The thing I admire most about Kate's platform is probably her spirit tally, because I think it would be really great for schools to know ahead of time from state or ahead of state convention whether they're ahead or behind in spirit. So I think that that was really cool. Kate's platform on Instagram is also very well published, and it's I like how she had a platform summary in one post, and so yeah.
Thank you. And Anna.
One thing I really like about Taha's platform is I can tell that not only is he trying to make it better with communication and like the professional things, but also he's added some fun things that are gonna like promote engagement. I also really do like his middle school initiative. I know that's something he's very passionate about, and that's something I've done sort of with my local chapters too. So I know it can be a lot of fun, but I know it's also very specific to him because of the whole Cobb County Middle School thing. So I like how he's trying to make a difference, but also still promote fun.
Thank you. And Tala?
Yeah, I really just like the general improvements that Anna's making. I think the biggest one is she has experience because she is from a smaller school, so she knows what can be done to engage these schools. So I think that's a great strength of hers, knowing how to reach out to our smaller schools. And the GJCO has struggled with that in the past, so I think it's going to be great for that. Another thing that I really admire is the virtual library that's going to be added to the website, having all the guides for the past officers. So those were just a few of my favorites.
Thank you. This next question is for the Office of President, and we'll start with Anna. Which part of your platform best represents what you hope to accomplish as GJCL President?
I'm very sorry. Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, that's fine.
It's currently hailing, so I'm gonna move away from the window.
Okay.
Hello. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm so sorry. I'm in the hallway now. So can you just repeat that, please?
Okay. Which part of your platform best represents what you hope to accomplish as GJCL President?
The main thing I'm hoping to accomplish is just making sure that the board is going to work together and also just communicate things with the GJCL. That's something that we've struggled with this year, is just pretty much communication. So I just want to make sure everyone's going to be on their A game, everyone's doing what their office is supposed to be doing, and also just overall making things better with my minor changes that you can visit on my platform with each officer. They're just little tweaks that I think could make a really big difference overall.
Thank you. And Tala?
Yeah, the biggest part of my platform and something that I'm really passionate about is my middle school initiative, which is going to include writing letters to district officials, integrating middle schoolers into more events such as Kurtaman tournaments, and even going to local middle schools to promote the GJCL, as middle school programs are being threatened to cut out. And a lot of our Latin careers started in middle school. So I really want to make sure that those are kept up, along with the local chapter guide, which is going to strengthen our local chapters and create a more well-rounded Georgia Latin community.
Thank you. This last question is for all candidates, and you'll have 20 seconds to answer. And we'll go in reverse gavel order. If you could be an ice cream flavor, which one would it be and why? Starting with Kelly.
I have always stuck to liking vanilla because it's just original. Everyone likes it. And I feel like in order to like a vanilla, you need to have a specific picky taste. And I hope to strive that pickiness, that like specificity that the Georgia board needs.
Thank you. And next, Andrew.
I would also like to be a vanilla because when I visited ice cream stores, I never had a experience getting a bad vanilla. It was almost always good or mediocre. I want to be a person who's almost always good at everything that I do for the board and at least mediocre at all the things that I do.
Thank you. And Savannah.
Well, my favorite ice cream would be Chocolate Trinity from Publix. It's chocolate ice cream with chocolate fudge and chocolate chips in it, and I think it's amazing, the different aspects of it that all just go together very well. I really appreciate that, and I think that kind of represents me a little bit too.
Thank you. Next, Kate.
I would definitely pick rainbow sherbet. All the different colors come together to make something really beautiful and something that tastes good no matter what kind of combination of those colors you get. I think that represents my personality pretty well in a colorful and kind of just all together compiled kind of way. So
Thank you. Next, Isabel.
Okay, I would want to be salted caramel just because it's like it's not as common as probably like vanilla or chocolate, but I think that it's like very balanced out and it's not too sweet. Not that I'm like mean or anything, but just that it's like kind of like a mature flavor. I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you. Next, Grace.
I think I would be coffee ice cream because I think coffee goes down like pretty smoothly, and I think as a person I do things very effectively and pretty smoothly, I guess. So I think coffee is probably what suits my personality the most.
Thank you. And Anna?
I would probably be strawberry ice cream. That's just what first came to mind because that's my favorite. It's pink, which is also my favorite color. It's classic. It's super sweet. It's always really good. So yeah, strawberry for sure.
Thank you. And last, we have Tala.
I definitely have to go with Rocky Road. You got the nuts, you got the marshmallows, you got the chocolate chips. You really cannot go wrong with that. There's a lot going on in there. And my sponsor can describe my jokes as pretty rocky. So I think Rocky Road's probably going to be my favorite here.
Okay, thank you. That's it for all of our submitted questions. If anybody has any questions they would like to ask, you can put it in the chat, and if not, we can adjourn this meeting.
Wait, is this question for like asking all the candidates or to you?
Oh, for the candidates, not me. Yeah, so if we don't have anything, I think we can end this meeting now. Thank you for everyone for like cooperating. Oh, we have a question. What's everyone's favorite god? We can just go in gavel order. I won't put like a time limit on it, so we can start with Tala.
Bacchus, that's all.
Anna.
Athena.
Grace.
Period.
Hestia.
Isabel.
Probably Artemis. She's the least controversial, so.
Kate.
It's pretty basic, but I'd say Apollo.
Savannah.
Poseidon, probably.
Andrew.
I would say Artemis too.
And then Kelly.
I was also going to say Dionysus because he's literally just bonkers. Like,
Okay, I think that's it for this meeting then. Thank you for everyone for coming. And yeah, have a great rest of your convention.
Good job, everyone. Thank you.
good job.
Thank you.